Let's take a look at today's headlines across Houston. Hello, I'm Len Cannon. Houston ISD rolling out a secure version of ChatGPT to help teachers cut down on administrative work and spend more time with students. Michelle Choi has more.
As the largest school district in Texas, Houston ISD serves nearly 200,000 students and says artificial intelligence could help its educators get back valuable time.
This whole project is about reducing administrative overhead for our teachers. It's not changing what or how we teach. It's just giving them more time to focus on what matters most, and that's our students.
The district is partnering with OpenAI to provide staff with a private, secure version of ChatGPT. Teachers can use it to draft multiple emails, organize documents, and streamline communication with families. How do your teachers feel about this?
I think that they're really excited about it. The concern has been that our teachers want to use ChatGPT or other AI models, but they've been unable to, or they've been holding back a little bit. This opens the door because it's totally secure.
And when it comes to the question many parents are asking, will AI replace teachers?
Absolutely not. I think that human interaction that goes on between a student and a teacher will never get replaced. All we're going to do is make our teachers have better tools to support them.
Dr. Patrick Dix, an AI expert, says what HISD is doing could set a national example.
You're an educator and you're an AI expert. How do you feel about AI in classrooms? Do you feel like it will replace teachers?
It can't happen because you have to have the one-on-one learning. Artificial intelligence cannot replace critical thinking skills. It cannot replace analytical skills. It's just a tool to give you an answer to get you to the next step. That's the biggest thing I want parents to understand about artificial intelligence.
And for a district as large as HISD, he says the move could help ease pressures from the statewide teacher shortage.
Do you applaud HISD for taking this step into bringing AI into classrooms?
Absolutely. Many school districts should follow behind them, but they have to have those safeguards in place to make sure that students are using it correctly, the administration is using it correctly, and the faculty or / teachers are using it correctly. Because if we don't introduce artificial intelligence, not only to adults and kids at the moment that we're living in now, we're doing a major disservice to everybody.
In Houston, Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News.
Houston City Council has voted to put restrictions on when you can ride an e-scooter. On Wednesday, council members unanimously moved to ban e-scooters and ATVs during certain hours. Troy Kless has the story.
You've seen them throughout downtown, but Houston City Council is putting the brakes on.
We've seen a lot of joyriding in downtown when it comes to scooters.
The citywide curfew will be between the hours of 8 p.m. and 4 a.m., limiting not just e-scooters, but other micro-mobility devices like hoverboards and electric skateboards, plus ATVs.
This proposal is a lot better than the original proposal, which was a complete ban.
Councilman Julian Ramirez, concerned with the language of the ordinance, thought of delaying the vote for 2 weeks.
What was said that changed your mind?
Well, actually, another council member came to me and said the mayor's willing to hold a committee hearing on it and consider changes.
At venues like the GRB, signs are already up limiting the use of scooters. It's a business for people like Sharif Hotak, owner of Star Ride Scooter Rental.
90% of my profit comes, after 10 p.m. And if there's nothing, I can't rent scooters after 8 p.m., there will be no profit for me.
The city says EMS responded to more than 500 emergency calls related to e-scooters in the past several years, 78% of which occurred between 8 p.m. and 4 a.m. With holidays around the corner and many people likely to attend events, Houston's mayor wants to protect pedestrians.
We emphasize public safety, and this is right up near the top in terms of protecting our infrastructure, our activities, and what a great central city that has been created.
Violating the ordinance could lead to fines with enforcement beginning immediately. Troy Kless, KHOU 11 News.
Waymo, an autonomous rideshare company, is bringing its driverless cars to Houston. The company already operates in several other cities, including Austin, and plans to test the service with employees here before opening it to the public next year. But not everyone is sold on the idea.
I just don't trust them.
Why not?
I don't think the technology's all there right now.
Waymo says safety is paramount. We're still waiting to learn the exact launch date. The owner of a Houston construction company says he was blindsided by a wave of fake one-star reviews. Then he says scammers demanded he pay up to make those reviews go away. Show Mercedes shows us how it happened and has suggestions and solutions for other business owners dealing with the same problem.
Abraham Polachek, owner of Dunnell Construction, says he's used to seeing glowing feedback online.
In this type of business, your reputation is everything.
On Google, he says his company's always earned 5 stars, until recently when that suddenly changed.
We've never had a 4-star or 3-star or 2-star review, so getting a 1-star review just out of the blue is definitely painful, and it's unnerving.
In less than 24 hours, Polachek says the company was flooded with 13 one-star reviews, all from people they've never done business with.
I'll read some of them to you. Horrible craftsmanship from start to finish.
Unprofessional and unreliable, and
absolutely terrible experience.
Does that sound like the reviews you've gotten in the last 17 years?
Absolutely not. We typically get a review once every few months, and here we got 13 in less than 24 hours. What's shocking about it was they were all 1-star reviews.
So the alarm bells immediately went off.
Then came the message that confirmed Polachek's suspicions. A scammer was behind the fake reviews.
The last review we received was a 1-star review, and what it said was, in our profile photo is our WhatsApp number. Please reach out to get these reviews removed.
Polachek says he reported it to Google. They investigated and took action. A few days later, the negative reviews started disappearing.
I feel relieved, vindicated. Obviously, our negative reviews are gone, and we're back to our 5-star reviews, and we can focus on what we do best, build things.
So what can you do if your business is being targeted by scammers? Well, you can file a report with Google for removal like Abraham did. All you have to do is fill out the merchant extortion form, and you can find that online.
Show Mercedes, thank you. The famous Houston Zoo lights opened to the public on Friday, but KHU 11 got a sneak peek. From new light displays and decorations to an interactive playground for kids, even the zoo's first ever pop-up bar for the old folks or adults. And right as you walk in, you'll see one of the biggest additions, the Wild Wander lights.
It's brand new technology that we have never used, and you're not going to see too much of it around here, the city of Houston. So it's really cool technology. As soon as you come in, you're going to be immersed in this light show.
Oh, the holiday lights. Catch all the fun starting at the zoo on Friday. That's a wrap of your Houston headlines. Thanks for watching. I'm Len Cannon.
In Austin, I'm Mark Mullins. The State Board of Education is looking to change the ways public school teaches social studies. Some people worry the process is being driven too much by politics and not enough by educators. Daniel Perot explains.
The State Board of Education is pushing ahead with the social studies overhaul, planning for classes to focus more on Texas history and less on world history and cultures.
Students need to see both the remarkable achievements of our past as well as the painful failures.
Outside the board's meeting Wednesday, some board members, a faith leader, and students condemned the changes.
When you narrow what children see, you shrink what they can imagine. You rob them of empathy. You weaken the critical thinking our democracy depends on.
The new framework focuses on teaching students about key people, places, and events throughout Texas and U.S. history. From 3rd to 8th grades, lessons on the development of Western civilization are added in, but there's still a heavy emphasis on Texas and U.S. history. Currently, teachers focus on Texas history in the 4th and 7th grade and world cultures in the 6th grade.
I want the curriculum taught in my schools to represent all the communities that call this state home.
Asher, a public school 6th grader, says he worries the changes will be guided by politics.
We need an education that provides us with facts, how to think critically, and an honest understanding of where we've been so we can decide where we're going.
The board selected a panel of 9 advisors to offer feedback. Some of them have criticized diversity efforts, questioned the historical contributions of people of color, and promoted debunked beliefs. Among the advisors is David Randall, Executive Director of the Civics Alliance and Research Director of the National Association of Scholars. and conservative Christian activist David Barden, the founder of the Wall Builders Foundation, which emphasizes teaching America's history through a biblical lens. He also wrote a book that calls the church-state separation a myth.
Texans deserve content advisors who are trained historians, who are qualified educators, whose base of their work is built on sound academic scholarship.
A petition to try to remove 3 content advisors has more than 1,000 signatures as politically charged debate over how and what children should learn about history escalates.
And that was Daniel Perot reporting. Classroom implementation of the new guidelines is expected in 2030. Voters in the city of Kyle will head back to the polls next month to decide who their new mayor will be. On election night, no candidate on the ballot got more than 50% of the vote. So former city council members Yvonne Flores, Kale, and Robert Rizzo are headed to a runoff. Jessica Cha spoke to both of them about the final leg of this race.
Thousands of Kyle residents showed up on election day to pick a new mayor. After none of the 4 candidates got over 50% of the vote, the race continues. Here are the 2 people you'll see on the December ballot: Robert Rizzo and Yvonne Flores Kale. Rizzo is a 5th-generation Kyle resident and served 3 terms as a city council member and mayor pro tem.
That tells me my council believes in me as well, and they trust me. So I believe that the citizens, I've earned their trust, and I'll continue to lead with that same capacity.
Yvonne Flores Kale moved to Kyle in 2011. She works as a paralegal and was a council member in 2020.
I'm dedicated to the city, and I'm not even elected. You know, a lot of times, especially in his case, you can serve organizations, but I serve the people.
Both Rizzo and Flores Kale told us their priorities include improving roads and addressing water infrastructure. But they differ on how to find new water sources for the city's growing population. Rizzo says the city's already working with Alliance Water to expand their supply, but the work doesn't stop there.
We're looking at not being dependent on one sole water source. We're also looking at this desal plant down at the Gulf. So it's something else we're looking at, and we're also looking at water storage.
Flores Kale said that the cost of a desalination plant to boost supply could be too high, and so they need to make sure they're financing water supplies efficiently.
Our water bill alone we can't afford to pay it. So how do we make sure that the water that we bring in, such as if we bring in desal, is not going to bankrupt the lifelong Kyle residents?
Early voting for the runoff runs from December 1st through the 9th with a break on that Sunday. And Election Day is December 13th. In Kyle, Jessica Cha, KVUE News.
Central Health and the Central Texas Food Bank are rolling out a new program this week, delivering medically tailored meals to patients with chronic conditions. Brianna Perez shows us how the pilot program is using food to fight illness and hunger.
Turning meals into medicine, Central Health is looking for new ways to improve patient health from the inside out.
Providing care for our patients in a medical environment, but then releasing them back to their home, knowing that they don't have the types of food they need to support their chronic conditions. And it was just becoming very cyclical.
It's a cycle they are trying to break through their new Food is Medicine program. Megan Cermak, Senior Director of Public Health Strategy for Central Health, says it aims to deliver medically tailored meals to chronic patients who struggle to access healthy food.
If you're extremely vulnerable and need, a renal-friendly diet, or you've just been released from surgery and you have very specific needs to meet your GI tract, these meals are going to keep them on the path to recovery and out of a cyclical cycle of readmittance into the hospital.
Cermak says about half of the patients they serve face food insecurity. Through the program, they plan to provide meals to 600 of them.
Each meal is customized to meet the patient's medical needs. Participants can get 7 frozen meals a week for 8 weeks. Officials say it's the first of its kind approach to managing chronic illness through nutrition.
In partnership with the Central Texas Food Bank, officials say the program, funded by the Central Health Innovation Fund, has helped 20 patients so far. With the holidays approaching, Cermak says the timing was just right for the rollout.
Our community is facing crisis levels of food insecurity. And so to be able to roll out this program the week of Thanksgiving is just so significant and timely, because not only are we getting our patients on the path to recovery and healing, but also making the holidays a little bit more special for the people that we can.
Long-term, Cermak says she hopes the program will help better manage chronic illnesses and reduce hospital readmissions. In Austin,
Brianna Bettis, KVUE News.
Well, 2 historic theaters in Austin are getting restored and preserved. The nonprofit that runs the Paramount and State Theaters announced their Shine On campaign. The Austin Theater Alliance is trying to raise $65 million to revitalize both buildings. These renderings show what the changes could look like. The Paramount has been around for 110 years, and the State Theater is 90 years old. A number of changes are planned. Historic elements will be restored, infrastructure will be updated, and seats, sound, and lighting will undergo modernization. Some work is already underway, but the Paramount's full restoration project will start in June of next year, and work on the State Theater will begin in summer of 2027. Downtown Austin is getting a new tradition to help drum up some midweek business. Why Not Wednesdays kicked off in the Red River Cultural District. One ticket for $11 will get you into 4 venues along that stretch of road, including Stubbs, the 13th Floor, Chess Club, and Feels So Good. Future events will happen the 3rd Wednesday of every month. Well, those are the headlines in Austin. I'm Mark Mullins.
Hey everyone, meteorologist Matt Farrell here with a look at your forecast around Texas. Well, the big story for today, it's going to be that widespread rain for most of Texas. If you live in Texas, you're probably going to see some rain today, and a lot of that's going to linger through the overnight hours and into East Texas for tomorrow. So again, it's going to clear from west to east over the course of tonight into your Friday. And then by the time we get to Saturday, most of us are going to be dry, and it's going to be pretty nice for the weekend. But then our next system, we start paying attention to that. That should start moving in by the time we get to Sunday. So more rain on the way. So if you didn't see it this time around, there's a chance you'll see it as we head into the beginning of next week. Here's your 3-day forecast. Again, anywhere you see rain on the board here, we're going to see some slightly cooler temperatures than what we've been seeing the last few days. That cloud cover, that rainfall, going to help us stay just a couple of degrees cooler than it has been recently. For Friday, like I said, I'm looking at Houston right here. You see some rain lingering in that area as we see those storms kind of push from west to east. And again, generally cooler temperatures across the area with that front coming through. And then by Saturday, like I said, it could be a pretty decent day across most of Texas. Again, a couple of lingering showers on Saturday are possible, but again, the chances not looking anything like they're looking for today or for tomorrow. So again, rain ongoing throughout the day here for different parts of the state, looking up towards the Panhandle, North Texas, down towards the Edwards Plateau, the Big Country. Again, rainfall from the morning hours all the way through the afternoon into the evening as well before things finally start to kind of push east. So if you're in the Permian Basin, the Trans-Pecos, the Panhandle, you're finally going to start to see things clear out a little bit as we head towards the end of the afternoon into the evening hours. And then all that kind of transitions into the I-35 corridor through tonight. So again, if you live on the I-35 corridor, your evening commute for this Thursday could be a little on the wet side, so make sure you pack that patience there. And then that starts to move into East Texas here through the overnight hours into your Friday morning before eventually moving out of the state as we head through the first half of your Friday morning. So that's what we're dealing with. Again, if you live in Texas, like I said earlier, probably going to see some rain throughout the course of this event. As far as the totals go, take a look at this map. You can see for the I-35 corridor back towards the Big Country, a lot of us seeing 1 to 2 inches of rain, but again, there are areas of the state that could see even more, looking specifically there at the Edwards Plateau. And if we're going to see flooding with this system, it could generally be in this area, and we'll talk about that more in here in just a second. But take a look across the state. There is a wide range of rainfall rates and totals that we're expecting with this system. If you live in West Texas, South Texas, anywhere between 1/100th to 1/4 of an inch, compare that to, again, that 1 to 2 inches that's expected along the I-35 corridor. And again, even more than that potentially there in the Edwards Plateau. There is a flood watch in effect through 6 a.m. Friday for a good swath of the Edwards Plateau up into Central Texas. If you live in Central Texas, 1 to 2 inches generally. Isolated spots could be as high as 4 inches. So again, some flooding concerns there. Higher flooding concerns back to the southwest along the Edwards Plateau into the hill country there. 1 to 3 inches generally. Some areas could see even as much as 6 to 8 inches with this system. Again, there's a low severe threat with the system throughout the day. Today, it's a marginal risk. Again, primarily for North Texas down into Central Texas. Gusty winds, maybe some pockets of hail, and there is a very low, not zero, but very low tornado threat with this system as it moves through. But again, I think the main story here is going to be that rainfall. Taking a look at your region by region 3-day forecast here again, we're going to see things very different in West Texas. Again, the cloud cover rain coming in a little bit earlier. You see 60s on the board there, 70s as we went through the next 3 days. Compare that to Central and East Texas, where temperatures are still in those 80s over the next few days before finally dropping into the 70s as we head closer to the weekend. And down in the Rio Grande Valley, again, staying warm in the 90s as we head through the next 3 days.
I'm Chris Lawrence with your headlines from North Texas. We're working to learn what led up to Wednesday's deadly shooting at a Walmart parking lot in Dallas. Investigators say it was a domestic dispute and the gunman tracked his partner down to the Walmart on Forest Lane. One shot grazed the woman and a bystander before police say he turned the gun on himself. And when officers arrived, they found his body in a parked car. Paramedics took both women to a hospital nearby, and detectives are trying to determine what prompted the shooting. A child was killed in Tarrant County Wednesday when the truck they were riding in was hit by a train. The crash happened in Haltom City near Elliott Reeder Road and Hickory Drive. And here's what we know right now. Investigators say 2 people were in the truck, including that child. Fort Worth police didn't give any specifics, but say it involved someone of school age. Paramedics rushed the adult driver to a hospital and were told they have minor injuries. A school resource officer is recovering after their gun accidentally went off at an elementary school in Corsicana ISD. No students or teachers were injured, but parents say they received several alerts from the school. District officials say they're cooperating with Corsicana police, who are investigating the accidental discharge. The city of Fort Worth is taking steps to address all the crashes on a dangerous stretch of road. Longtime residents tell us speeding is a big problem on East Berry Street. Brittany Costello shows us what's being done to make it safer.
On East Berry Street in Fort Worth.
This is where the second set of chevrons will be.
Assistant Director of Transportation Management, Martin Phillips.
All those have proven to be effective at changing driver behavior.
Is coming up with a new plan to address safety concerns on a stretch Willie Huckabee says has been dangerous for far too long.
Don't we have crashes everywhere? Up at the light, down the streets. Just about anywhere you have crashes, but it's mostly in this curve right here.
Accidents through his neighbor's yard, others at the intersection of East Berry and Village Creek.
I'll be in the bed, and if I hear something, boom, I jump up, think somebody done hit something. It's just that bad.
He blames much of it on speed and driver inattention. Problems Phillips is hoping to address with the city's plan for new curve warning signs, arrows, and advisory speed limits of 25 miles per hour.
That's all designed to grab the driver's attention as they're coming into the curve. Let them know there is a curve, and hopefully they will begin to slow down.
City staff shared their plans with neighbors like Huckabee Wednesday.
It makes me feel better to know that they're trying to do something for the neighborhood.
Though he says drivers seem to ignore the signs already there.
Half the time they're not going to even look at the signs. Then the other half, I don't know what's going to happen.
The city admits drivers have to do their part, but say this is just the first of many projects to come. Improvements to this intersection are in the design phase.
It's also going to make the signals a lot more visible.
And a long-term plan will review the entire corridor, something the city believes will improve safety for everyone.
Well, you got to start somewhere.
The goal is to get this signage up by January 2026, but they are hoping to do that even sooner. The next step is to install the poles, but that means making sure there's nothing in the ground that they could hit. In Fort Worth, I'm Brittany Costello.
A family in North Richland Hills has a lot to be thankful for this year. Kevin Reese shows us how doctors who work with the tiniest of patients are bringing home success like never before.
So we got all of the sizes of diapers.
A nursery in North Richland Hills created for a girl named Nora, a collection of hair bows ready and waiting for her. But then there's this picture of her mom.
I look happy, but I was terrified.
Terrified because that's Nora she's holding, all 13.1 ounces of her, less than a pound, the size of a soda can.
It was a huge shock when they said that she was going to be born at 24 weeks. It was terrifying, but also like miraculous.
Because
almost.
That was March of this year, and this...
Let me fix your bow. Is that what was wrong? Is that what was wrong?
...is 8 months later.
I mean, when she was born so small, I didn't know she could live. And the nurses were like, no, she's going to thrive.
And you look at her now, and it's just hard to even think about that.
Would never, yeah.
Nora, all 10 pounds of her now. beat the odds at Texas Health Harris Methodist in Fort Worth.
You're really battling against nature.
Dr. Megan Schmidt, the neonatologist who led a specialized team for Nora's first 129 days.
We couldn't have done these sorts of things as early as 30 years ago that we can do now.
So just the advancements that have been made over the last decade are incredible. That's great.
Nora also survived a delicate heart procedure, but her doctors say she's the picture of health now.
She'll throw one fit a day, and otherwise it's this.
This one around her entire arm.
Her parents keep the tiny blood pressure cuff and the tiny hand and footprints.
I think of this little fighter that was ready to come into the world too soon, but she was ready to come fighting, and she never gave up. I will tell her that she's the strongest person I've ever met in my whole life. I think that'll be her story. I really hope she's a neonatologist someday.
Yeah, so do I.
I'm kind of trying to manifest it.
Yeah.
There is a photo wall at the Babcock home that includes the phrase, "I still remember the days I prayed for the things I have now."
I can't thank Dr. Schmidt enough for just believing in her and not ever giving up hope.
Hope that they want other parents of preemie babies to know
Chatty, Nora.
is possible for them too.
What they do, it's their work. It's amazing.
In North Richland Hills, I'm Kevin Reese.
So glad to see Nora doing so well, and a big thanks to all the doctors and nurses who work in the NICU. Those are your headlines from North Texas.
I'm Lindsay Littman. Here are your headlines from Central Texas. If you own a horse, listen up. The Department of Agriculture is sounding the alarm about a contagious outbreak, which they say might be linked to a big event in Waco. Ag Commissioner Sid Miller says veterinarians started reporting cases of equine herpes virus type 1, or EHV1, right after the World Championship barrel racing finals earlier this month. Officials say anyone who had a horse at that Waco event or has been around horses that were there should act immediately. Symptoms can include a fever, coughing, and even neurological issues like stumbling or weakness. Former Killeen Housing Authority Director Deidre Johnson is going to federal prison. A federal judge sentenced Johnson to 37 months for 9 counts of embezzling funds meant to help struggling tenants pay their bills. Johnson embezzled nearly $300,000 over a period of 2 years for personal use on things like car payments, rent, and flights. It led to budget deficits that ultimately resulted in the program's closure. The U.S. attorney prosecuting Johnson said she selfishly betrayed the families depending on the Killeen Housing Authority. A storage unit mix-up is leaving a Central Texas family hoping for a Christmas miracle. When their unit was sold, they lost decades of heirloom ornaments. Reporter Sydney Walker has more on one ornament that honors a special family member.
A time for joy.
Christmas is our favorite holiday. It's like the biggest one we do. We go all out every year for Christmas.
Katie Mills spends the holidays alongside family, even the ones
That's Gabby.
she's lost.
Gabrielle was my sister. She was an infant. She died at 3 weeks in the hospital.
Gabrielle would have been Katie's older sister.
As far as I can tell, she was the highlight of everybody's world. She was a little fighter, and she fought really hard until she passed away.
She never left the hospital.
It tells me the strength of my family.
Every year they kick off the holiday season.
It does, and it goes front and center every year.
With a special memory.
When she died, the funeral home gifted my parents that ornament.
But a storage unit mix-up.
We didn't know it was being sold. The family member that offered to store those ornaments did not realize that she hadn't paid the bill.
Left all their family ornaments missing.
Yeah, they're all gone.
Including baby Gabby's.
Just not having that ornament just going first, it kind of is really hard to put up the rest. And
Katie's heart is broken, especially for her parents.
As a parent myself, I can't imagine losing my child and then losing the one last little thing that we had of hers.
Their last memory of Gabby gone.
Passes away, and I think the funeral home has since closed. So there's really no getting even sort of a replica back.
And the only hope, a Christmas miracle.
At the very least, I'd like to find Gabby's, but best thing is we find all of them, keep the memories and part of our family history that's been passed down from generations. So
in Axtell, Sydney Walker, 6 News.
If you happen to have any information about the Mills family ornaments, especially Gabby's, please reach out to 6 News. It would mean the world. And those are your headlines from Central Texas.
I'm Leslie Adamy in Corpus Christi, and here's a look at some of what's happening in South Texas. Police patrols have been increased in the community of Robstown following 2 recent shootings involving teenagers. One of them deadly, both happening just days apart. This week, a 14-year-old boy was shot and killed outside of an apartment complex just across the street from an elementary school campus. This comes just days after another teenager was shot and rushed to the hospital. He is now in stable condition. Authorities confirm the 2 incidents are connected and believe both may be money related. But Robstown's police chief points to a larger problem.
We have juveniles running around on the streets at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Parents have no clue where they're at, nor do they care. And these kids are carrying guns. This starts at home with the parents. And I hope to God that we can find some legislation where we can hold these parents accountable. Because until we do, we're going to continue to have this problem. And it's not just a problem that's specific with Robstown. This is a problem specific with the entire United States.
Chief Thamez says those concerns have prompted those heightened patrols with additional officers on the streets throughout the holiday season. And Corpus Christi firefighters are trained to rush in when the seconds count, but one crew was recently recognized for simply slowing down and being there for someone. Back in September, the group worked alongside Corpus Christi police to rescue a distressed young man atop the new Harbor Bridge. A special honor was presented to Captain Eric McLeod, engineer Michael Hernandez, and firefighters Joy Magellan and Dylan McQuarrie for their quick thinking and teamwork that saved a life. And Port Aransas is supposed to slow down after Labor Day, but we're told tourists didn't exactly get the memo. The island has ridden a wave of visitors deep into the fall, and local businesses are loving it. Michael Gibson shows us why this year's off-season never really came.
Here in Port Aransas, the CEO of the Chamber of Commerce says since the end of the summer tourism season, they've seen a whole lot more people coming into town than normal. We wondered what exactly was going on here. Labor Day usually signals the end of summer tourism, but this year visitors kept rolling in through September and October.
Our hot tax in Port Aransas was up 33% in October, and that's bucking the trend of the state. You know, statewide we saw a flat or down 1% trend for October hot tax.
Winton's Island Candy has been a staple here for 30 years. Tourists from across the country, like these 2 Nebraskans, pack in for treats and to see Jake, the old Western Diamondback, now stuffed, but still a star attraction.
Columbus Day was still strong. It was record-breaking for many. You had several events that weekend. You had a kite festival. You had the wooden boat festival. And then it was a holiday, and so it was record-breaking for a lot of businesses here.
You know, we came off the best summer we've had, and it seemed like the crowd just lingered after the summer longer than they normally do.
Deep Sea headquarters has also stayed busy, thanks to calm weather and warm water.
The weather's been nice. The water has stayed warm, so we've seen more species hang in that normally this time of year are already moving out. We've been running a lot of 36 and 60-hour yellowfin tuna trips. Those have been extremely good.
Cookies at the candy shop, we met James Weingard from Rice Lake, Wisconsin. We asked what brought him here.
Oh, it's fantastic. People are wonderful. Everybody around here has just been so friendly and so nice and so accommodating to us.
The Wintons say Port A's momentum isn't slowing. They believe more people are discovering this city, known not just as the fishing capital of Texas, but as one of the friendliest stops on the entire coast. From Port Aransas, Michael Gibson, 3 News.
And that's a quick look at some of what's happening here in South Texas.
I'm Isis Romero, and this is the news in San Antonio. The search continues to find the person accused of slashing a young man across the face. This happened outside of a Raising Cane's restaurant off Southeast Military Drive. Police say someone tried to rob the man while he was out on the patio. At some point, the would-be thief cut the man across the face and ran off. Police are still searching for the driver who took off after hitting a man with his vehicle. That man was killed while crossing Old Highway 90 on Wednesday morning. Meredith Haas explains what the city is doing to reduce these incidents.
City initiative called Keep Crossing Safe launched Monday to help prevent pedestrian deaths like the one that happened here this morning. But it's also to inform people on crosswalk safety. It's written in the data. TxDOT says there were 83 pedestrian deaths just last year in San Antonio.
San Antonio is still one of the most dangerous places for pedestrians.
Ranking as the 7th deadliest city for pedestrians in the U.S. That's why Christy Flores and the city's transportation department are raising awareness through empathy and education.
South Zamora, W.W. White, and Fredericksburg.
The three main corridors Flores and her team have pinpointed as, quote, high injury network corridors, where the transportation department has already begun designing mid-block crossing along Zarzamora Street. Then a reminder through digital outreach, who is crossing the road.
To give them that, idea in their head that like, okay, not only could this be us, but this could also be my grandma, my grandpa, some children trying to cross the street.
On their website, silhouettes of people who represent everyone.
Bring everybody back mentally about staying alert.
And informing people on safety tips they can take into their own hands to prevent deaths like the one just this morning off Old Highway 90. Visiting their site, Keep Crossing Safe, taking a look at their information, it could be the difference between one more pedestrian death or a life saved.
But let's slow down and let's pay attention and make sure that we are being safe.
Police are still searching for the white truck they say was involved in this morning's hit and run as we try to figure out the victim's identity. Meredith Haas, KENS 5.
We're just over a week and a half away from Thanksgiving, but as KENS 5's Jeremy Baker reports, the holidays can be a trying time for those with diabetes.
If you have type 2 diabetes, your body doesn't produce enough insulin or becomes resistant to it, but it's manageable with lifestyle changes. Type 1 diabetes is genetic, and with multiple daily insulin injections required for type 1, what you put in your body requires a little more Thanksgiving thought and a little more care at Christmas.
She is more mature than most 10-year-olds. She was forced to grow up quicker than she should have.
Jackie Taylor is talking about her 10-year-old daughter, Brianna Smith, who loves candy.
Snickers and Skittles.
Brianna was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes when she was a very young girl. Her mom says she's a warrior.
We learned that type 1, you don't have to control their food, you just have to monitor it.
It's basically a disease, and no, it is not contagious, but it's just a disease that tries to kill me every single day.
It's an autoimmune disorder, meaning people usually have a genetic predisposition to develop type 1 diabetes.
With every meal, every snack, we have to look at the carbs on it. We have to look at the serving size.
A lot of kiddos do struggle with it, but Brianna's doing a fantastic job.
Smith hits her blood sugar target with an insulin pump on her leg, a sensor on her arm, and an app on her phone.
Depending on what her blood sugar is, her pump will decide how much insulin she gets.
Their family is ready for the ride of ups and downs Brianna's blood sugar will give her over the holidays, but still wants her daughter to be a kid.
We try to plan as best we can, and we know it's going to be a train wreck. And we're probably going to spend the next couple of days correcting highs.
To learn more about type 1 diabetes and also ways to eat healthier during the holidays, head to this story on KENS5.com. In the studio, Jeremy Baker, KENS 5.
And that's the news in San Antonio.
Here are your headlines from Southeast Texas. I'm Mark Armstrong. We're continuing our coverage of the shakeup with the state's congressional maps. A federal panel has blocked Texas from using the newly redrawn maps for the next year's midterms. Now, it was passed by lawmakers earlier this year. Those maps, they were drawn to help Republicans gain extra seats in the United States House of Representatives, but several advocacy groups, they sued alleging that these drawings were racially gerrymandered. 12 News reporter Spencer Plato has more.
The arguments the DOJ letter put forth were incorrect on the law and therefore could not justify this redistricting plan.
A political shakeup in Texas politics after a panel of judges blocked a newly drawn redistricting map previously passed by Governor Greg Abbott this year.
Texas is now more red in the United States Congress.
The goal was to help Republicans gain 5 seats in the U.S. House, but a coalition representing Black and Hispanic voters sued over the new maps, saying it weakened their voting power. It's an argument 2 out of 3 federal judges agreed with.
Because the plan was premised on a racial objective, the lack of a legal justification for that race-conscious redistricting plan rendered it a racial gerrymander.
Governor Abbott says the maps were for political reasons, stating, quote,
"What is allowed by the United States Supreme Court is drawing maps for political reasons. And these were drawn for political reasons to ensure that Republicans would have greater representation in Congress."
Political analysts say this is a setback for Republicans.
The jurists took Donald Trump to task for injecting himself into the politics of this. They took the Department of Justice to task, essentially for trying to be misleading when it comes to some of these districts. They took Texas legislature to task. They talked about Greg Abbott. There's a lot in this that really pushes back politically on what it is Republicans are trying to do in Texas.
Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filed an appeal to the Supreme Court, but it's unclear how that will play out.
If it's the case that the Supreme Court decides to continue to hear arguments on the revised maps, then they'll likely keep the prior 2021 maps in place while that happens. That means that the election will go forward potentially with the older maps, just as this current decision holds.
And that was Spencer Plato reporting. A Southeast Texas nonprofit needs donations to continue their mission. The Dream Center, it helps feed families in need. And 12 News reporter Cameron Burchett, she explains the need that all help can get.
We want to help as many people we can, but we are limited.
The Dream Center works with the Southeast Texas Food Bank to keep its pantry full year-round, holding food distributions 4 times a month.
A lot of our clients do have SNAP, and so we had a lot of phone calls.
Co-founder Velma Connor says this is the first time they've seen this kind of demand following brief SNAP cuts.
It put a strain on us.
Applications for this month's pantry program opened up last week, but within 6 days they reached full capacity, serving more than 700 families a month.
We have spots for people to come in, but this month it's been full and we have a waiting list. This is the first time we've had a waiting list.
She says despite cuts, they are committed to serving Southeast Texas.
With them getting cuts, it limit us to be able to give out what we usually give out a month.
Connor says signups are free and certain requirements are needed to qualify. However, she says they won't turn away families who have signed up and don't meet the qualifications.
I think it's very important that I give back. We give back to the community because we are the community, so it's better just to give back.
RJ has worked at the Dream Center under many titles. One is helping run the clothing pantry.
People could come in and shop for 15 to 20 minutes, and they come get clothes and stuff like that for their kids and for themselves.
It's free for anyone.
They just have to call and make an appointment.
It's a way they're continuing to put Southeast Texas families first.
When you're serving and you're helping the community, you get outside of yourself, and it just gives more meaning and purpose for somebody to be able to give back.
And the Dream Center is always in need of volunteers. So if you'd like to sign up or bring a group, we'll have an email on our website. And those were your headlines from Southeast Texas.
Hi, I'm Brennan Gurley, and here's what's making headlines across East Texas. Tuesday, we learned that Rusk County officials will be naming a third suspect Friday in the 1983 KFC murders that left 5 people dead in Kilgore. 2 men were convicted, but for years there was talks of another killer still out there. CBS 19's Will Riddell has more on how new technology is starting to provide answers some thought would never come.
A major development coming Friday in a case that started over 40 years ago. Rusk County officials announced they have identified a third suspect tied to the 1983 KFC murders in Kilgore. DNA evidence is what led to this final suspect being pinpointed.
What we're seeing is that the technology is here, it's readily available. If there's DNA, there is an answer.
Colby Lazion is the chief of staff at Houston-based Othram, a company that assists law agencies all across the country with advanced DNA testing. Othram is not part of the KFC murders investigation, but does specialize in working with DNA evidence.
And so the advancements in DNA technology have essentially allowed for the identification of really anyone.
The other 2 suspects in the case had already been identified as Romeo Pinkerton and Darnell Hartsfield. Both were sentenced to life in prison, with Hartsfield passing away in 2022. Unidentified biological material was all investigators had related to that third suspect. It turned out to be a powerful clue.
If you can build a DNA profile from this DNA that you extract from whatever the original evidence is from a crime scene or whatever the case may be, then essentially you can identify the person.
Lazian says these technological advancements will only continue to provide sought-after answers, seeing justice is served in East Texas and beyond.
And it's a message for those who have committed a crime and have not yet been identified, and it's a matter of time.
Reporting for CBS 19, I'm Will Riddell.
The new Smith County Courthouse is reshaping downtown Tyler, and one man has been keeping a detailed record of that journey in the simplest way he knows. CBS 19's Jesus Martinez shares how his everyday photos are preserving a moment in Rose City's history.
Downtown Tyler is changing. It's hard not to hear it. And it's hard not to see it in the foreground and the background of the Smith County Courthouse.
Morning, everyone, and thank you for coming.
Wednesday, county leaders celebrated the topping out ceremony of the new Smith County Courthouse.
I was calling it a party earlier. It seems kind of like a party. Everybody's enjoying themselves.
Among those in this party,
just amazed at how these cranes work,
is Jimmy Ramsey.
I think this is history in the making.
He's not a professional photographer.
I'd like taking then and now pictures, so I like sharing those.
But he does have a passion for documenting history.
I started with the demolition of the historic buildings on Spring Street, and then I just followed the process from there.
He doesn't have a fancy camera with a long lens or any other equipment. Rather, he uses something simpler.
Yep, just this phone the whole time.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the number of photos he's taken over the course of the year, well, it's...
click, click, click.
Too many to count.
We're probably looking in triple digit, or well, more than triple digit, like probably over 100,000.
His photos show the grit, the details, and the dedication that is going into this building.
A building that will be the home of justice in Smith County and a focal point as an important gathering space for our community.
It's actually taller than the People's Petroleum Building. We're really proud of that.
Even if it does shake up the rankings.
I thought I might get a boo.
And each photo reflecting a piece of that progress.
I can't believe this looks like this now. I'll look at a picture of it when it was just a pit after they dug out the basement, and that was just about a year or so ago, and I'm amazed at how far along they've came, and it feels like it was just yesterday I took those pictures.
And he keeps the whole thing simple, just like his photos.
I like showing it how it is.
Again, keeping that relationship simple.
People tell me, why don't you get a job in it? And I'm like, well, I don't want to hate it.
So while the courthouse continues to grow, Jimmy's sticking to the basics. One phone, one click, and one simple way of seeing history as it happens. In Tyler, I'm Jesus Martinez.
And that's a wrap of your East Texas headlines. I'm Brennan Gurley.